Welcome, fellow explorers, to the deep dive. You know that feeling, right?
Oh, yeah.
That moment when life throws you a curveball, maybe it's a job loss, a relationship ending, a health scare, or just one of those weeks where you have so many urgent things to deal with, and yet it feels like every single door is just slamming shut in your face.
Completely. We've all been there.
Standing amidst the rubble of what we thought was supposed to be, wondering how on earth we're going to pick up the pieces. It's that universal aversion to loss, isn't it?
Absolutely. In all its forms.
And it immediately complicates everything, sends our emotions into a total tailspin. You've probably felt that profound sense of disorientation, that deep disappointment, when your plans just unravel.
And your world feels like it's collapsing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the profound nature of losing.
Right.
But here's the twist. We're not just looking at it as a setback or, a moment of failure.
There's more to it. Exactly. Our sources challenge us to see loss as a critical, often unexpected pathway to what they describe as spiritual gain.
Which is a fascinating concept.
Isn't it? We'll be boldly questioning our conventional understanding of what loss truly means, drawing on some amazing historical accounts, powerful spiritual teachings, and some incredibly poignant personal anecdotes.
Yeah, stories are quite something.
Our mission today is really to uncover those hidden lessons, those surprising moments of triumph and growth, even when it looks like total defeat. So the big question guiding us is, how do we shift our perspective from, dreading loss to embracing its deeper, maybe more transformative meaning?
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the sources we're exploring present loss not as an ultimate end, not as final,
right,
but often as a pivotal point for profound spiritual evolution. They kind of frame it as an hypothesis or maybe a temporary state, if you will.
A temporary state, like a condition.
Yeah, a condition sort of designed to catalyze growth rather than just being an unfortunate outcome. This perspective suggests that what seems to be lost on the physical plane can actually lead to something far more meaningful, more enduring on a spiritual level. So we're going to delve into how adopting different viewpoints, particularly a spiritual one, can utterly transform our experience of loss.
Revealing layers of purpose and meaning we might otherwise just completely miss.
Exactly. Layers we wouldn't even know were there.
So let's start where it all begins for us here on Earth. That immediate sort of gut-wrenching sting of loss.
Yeah, the initial impact.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, willingly walks into a situation hoping to lose.
Of course not.
Whether it's material stuff, our health, a relationship we cherish, or even our career taking an unexpected nosedive.
Yeah.
Like those turbulent weeks where you feel you have so many urgent things, so much pressure, and yet it seems every single door is closing.
Right, everything feels blocked.
The emotional and practical difficulties that come up are just immense. As humans, we're inherently wired for success, for stability, for things to go, well, right.
We expect progress.
Exactly. And loss fundamentally disrupts that expectation. It shakes the very foundations of our perceived security. We plan, we strive, we build, and then poof, in a moment, it feels like it's all gone. That deep aversion to loss is such a core part of being human.
It really is.
Oh.
And it's not just the direct impact of the loss itself that hits us hard. The sources highlight another layer of difficulty, one we often overlook.
Oh, what's that?
It's the double-edged sword of external support.
Oh, right. When you reach out.
Exactly. We instinctively look for solace, a comforting word from a friend or family member, only to sometimes get what the sources call a cold shower.
A cold shower, meaning?
Contrary to what we hoped for, instead of lifting us up, they kind of douse us with cold water. They might say, we're asking for too much, or life's too complicated right now, or, that's definitely not going to work out.
Ouch. That's incredibly deflating, isn't it?
Totally.
When you're already feeling low, vulnerable, and someone you trust just piles on the doubt, or maybe even a subtle judgment, makes you feel almost foolish for hoping. How do these sources explain why people might react like that, when compassion is really what's needed?
That's an excellent question, and it's something many of us can relate to, I think. The sources suggest these reactions aren't always, malicious.
Okay.
Sometimes people are simply projecting their own limitations, their own past failures, maybe their anxieties about a complex world onto your situation.
Right, so it's more about them than you.
Often, yes.
Yeah.
They might be trying to protect you from more disappointment by lowering your expectations, or maybe they just don't have the capacity themselves to see beyond the immediate earthly difficulty.
But it still hurts.
Oh, absolutely. For the person experiencing the loss, it undeniably compounds that feeling of isolation and disappointment. It makes an already heavy burden feel even heavier. It's a reminder, I suppose, that true support is often about just holding space for someone else's hope, even if you can't fully share it yourself.
Holding space. I like that. And it gets even more intricate, doesn't it, when we consider what our sources talk about as unseen adversaries and intergenerational dynamics?
Yes, this is where a really profound spiritual layer starts to emerge in how we understand relationships.
Okay.
The idea here is that we are the past in the form of the present.
We are the past.
Yeah. Our sources suggest that we often have what they call adversaries from yesterday, people from past lives whom we might have caused to lose or suffer in some way.
Wow.
Who are now very close to us in this current life.
Close to us. Like family. Friends.
Could be. These individuals, consciously or more likely, unconsciously, might hold us responsible for their past losses, creating these subtle or sometimes not so subtle challenges in our present relationships.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests some of our present-day struggles, maybe even how people react to us.
Exactly. Especially those reactions from people close to us. Children, proteges, students, family might not be random at all.
They could be echoes.
Echoes of past interactions, yes. Influencing our ability to face current losses. This idea of hidden sort of karmic baggage, it can profoundly affect how we interpret and overcome difficulties.
Right.
Maybe it shows up as friction you can't explain, or expectations that are never met, or even that cold shower response we were just talking about.
So it hints at this deeper karmic fabric weaving through our relationships.
Precisely. Shaping our present experiences and how others respond when we're vulnerable, all as part of a grander design for spiritual rebalancing and growth.
That doesn't excuse bad behavior now, though.
No, absolutely not. But it offers a broader context, perhaps, for these sometimes baffling complexities of human connection and conflict.
Now let's push this idea of loss to its absolute extreme. Imagine the scenario. A modern-day persecution against, say, spiritualists. Picture the Colosseum, wild beasts, a brutal public spectacle. The question the source poses is pretty stark. Who among us would truly remain a spiritualist?
Wow, yeah.
Who among us would have the courage to face certain death for our beliefs, to walk willingly into the mouth of a panther, not because we're reckless, but because our conviction is just that deep?
It really forces you to think about the depth of your own belief.
Totally. This hypothetical sets an incredibly high bar for faith, for resilience. It makes us reflect on the true depth of our convictions when faced with the ultimate loss, life itself. Could we really embrace a spiritual gain that transcends physical existence?
This huge question.
And this next part, it just elevates our understanding because this isn't just hypothetical.
No, this is history.
Our sources share the incredible, almost astonishing story of Ignacio de Antioquia, Ignatius of Antioch. He was arrested for following Jesus, facing this exact fate. His journey to Rome was long, arduous. He and the other prisoners were tied up, forced to walk, while their Roman captors rode comfortably on horseback, drinking whenever they wanted.
A brutal journey.
But as they approached Rome, as the magnificent city appeared on the horizon, Ignacio, who was the most well-known among them, started to laugh.
Approaching his death.
Yes. And the closer they got, the more satisfied, the more joyful his laughter became.
The general in charge must have been confused.
Confused, annoyed, probably thought he was mad. He turned to Ignacio and said something like, "They already told me you Christians are all crazy. Why are you laughing? You're entering Rome, and as soon as we arrive, we're going straight to the Colosseum Games where you'll lose your lives to the beast."
Basically reminding him of his imminent, brutal death.
Exactly. And yet, Ignacio only laughed more.
So what did he say? Why was he laughing?
His response is just profound, a masterclass in perspective. He looked at Rome, this marvel of human engineering, this city of immense power and beauty, and he said, "I am so amazed that the forces of good allowed the Romans to build this wonder that is Rome, this road so well laid for travelers to reach the city, that I am certain if they permitted such beauty here, what unimaginable glory must await us in heaven."
Wow. So he saw Rome's glory not as his doom.
Not at all. He saw it as a testament to the divine, a promise of an even greater splendor waiting for him.
Incredible.
He went to a sacrifice peacefully, joyfully, completely convinced he wasn't losing, but gaining immortality, transitioning to something far more glorious.
That is such a powerful, radical example of a complete perspective shift.
Isn't it?
Ignacio didn't see loss. He saw a transition to a greater, unimaginable gain. It really speaks to that idea of spiritual sight versus just physical sight.
Yeah.
His belief system allowed him to reinterpret the most terrifying earthly event, being thrown to lions, as a joyous liberation, a true victory of the soul over the body.
And this perspective was just so alien to the Roman culture back then.
Completely. As the sources note, Roman women considered Christian women utterly demented, basically insane, for taking their children to be sacrificed alongside them.
They couldn't comprehend it.
No. The thought of willingly giving up life, let alone their child's life, for some unseen spiritual reward was just incomprehensible to them.
Imagine that chasm in understanding. One culture sees this horrific, tragic loss,
while the other sees triumphant liberation, a homecoming.
Yeah.
And this raises an important question for us today, doesn't it? What does our contemporary society consider sane when it comes to facing profound loss, especially death?
Right.
And how might a deeper spiritual understanding, one that maybe prioritizes the soul's journey, challenge those established norms? Could it offer a different kind of solace or strength?
It highlights how different belief systems interpret the exact same events so differently. Tragic loss or joyful liberation. It underscores that deep philosophical, emotional divide in how we process suffering and death. So, how do we begin to reconcile these, extreme examples of ultimate sacrifice with our everyday, maybe more mundane losses?
That's the key question, isn't it? Bridging that gap.
Our sources introduce a fascinating spiritual hypothesis here, that our lives aren't just random, chaotic events.
No, there's a design.
Instead, they're part of a meticulously purposeful design. Before our plunge into the flesh, our reincarnation into a physical body, our spiritual mentors apparently advise us. We engage in these pre-incarnation agreements about who we'll meet, the family we'll form, even the potential difficulties we might face.
Unless we make great efforts to overcome them.
Right. The sources describe it like this heartfelt dialogue between spirits, where promises of worlds and fortunes, meaning opportunities for immense growth and learning, are made before we even incarnate.
It's like a cosmic curriculum.
Exactly, designed specifically for our individual and maybe even collective spiritual development.
And this framework, this idea, suggests that many of our earthly losses, whether we see them as misfortunes, setbacks, hardships, they aren't random.
They're part of the plan.
They're integral parts of a preordained curriculum for spiritual development. It implies a deeper, often unseen meaning to the challenges we face.
And it puts responsibility on us.
It imbues us with a sense of personal responsibility for the effort we put into navigating them. We agree to these conditions, these potential difficulties, as essential stepping stones for our evolution.
Understanding that lessons often come from what feels like deprivation.
Precisely.
But then, of course, we arrive here on Earth, and as the sources beautifully put it, life itself takes charge of the forgetting of the past.
The veil descends.
The veil of forgetfulness descends. We re-encounter people, and there's often that weird, strong sense of familiarity.
I feel like I know this person.
Yeah, it's strange. I have the impression I've been with this person before. But as the source points out, we often just fall back into old patterns.
Whether it's intense love or a recurring illusion.
Right, and the crucial memory of those pre-incarnation agreements, the lessons we intended to learn, is just gone.
It's like a game of spiritual hide and seek.
Where the biggest challenge is remembering the rules we helped write.
And that's precisely the challenge. Discussing the difficulty of fulfilling these pre-incarnation promises when the memory is erased. It introduces that crucial dynamic between destiny and free will.
How do we navigate these lessons if we don't remember signing up for them?
Exactly. How do we navigate these prearranged lessons and karmic rebalancings when we're operating without the full context? Without the conscious memory of why certain people or challenges have entered our lives?
It underscores the immense complexity and maybe the profound trust inherent in our journey here.
It really does. Requiring us to develop intuition, compassion, resilience to move forward, often without understanding the full spiritual blueprint.
A powerful and very well-known illustration of this comes from the story of André Louis.
Oh yes, André Louis.
His channeled works communicated from the spiritual realm through the medium, Chico Xavier. They really shook up the spiritualist community when they were first published.
They were quite raw.
Incredibly frank, almost brutally honest accounts of encountering so many souls in the spiritual world who had just squandered opportunities, lost their health through their own choices, and succumbed to despair, only to find themselves in these regions of suffering after passing.
And his own story is particularly striking.
It really is. Despite his vast scientific knowledge as a respected doctor, he was considered a suicide after his death.
But not in the conventional sense.
No, not in the way we usually think of it.
Yeah.
Rather, it was due to a life of what the sources call unresolved sensuality.
Which involved seducing young women in their parents' homes.
Yes, and also knowingly unhealthy eating habits that profoundly affected his digestive and reproductive systems.
Needs to do better, being a doctor.
Exactly. So when serious health problems eventually arose, he simply didn't survive the surgery. His body was ravaged by his lifestyle choices.
And the sources emphasize his responsibility was immense because he had the medical knowledge.
He consciously chose a path that led to the premature loss of his physical life.
And after death.
After 8 long years in regions of intense suffering, André Louis was finally rescued.
And this is where the transformation begins.
Yes, as the sources indicate, this is where his journey of profound humility and self-awareness started. He finally realized he had lost an incarnation.
Squandered a vital opportunity for spiritual growth and service while on Earth.
Right, and it's also noted that in his earthly life, he'd been quite implacable with his patients, especially the poor who couldn't pay.
A severe lack of compassion.
His eventual redemption, detailed in books like The Messengers, which I hear is being adapted into a film.
Oh, interesting.
It's a testament to the transformative power of self-reflection and humble service.
It really raises that important question about personal accountability, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the long-term spiritual consequences of our choices, even for people with great intellect and knowledge.
Yeah.
It's not just about what we lose on Earth, but maybe how we lost it, and the lessons we failed to heed while we were embodied.
That brings us to a really crucial point. How do we challenge our earthly perceptions of loss versus what might be true spiritual gain?
Shifting that perspective.
Our sources offer a poignant and powerful contrast with the recent passing of an orthopedic surgeon in Rio.
Okay.
The community universally praised him, calling him formidable, a wonderful doctor, because he had made it his practice to treat and operate on people who couldn't afford to pay.
Wow.
This stood in stark contrast to other doctors in the same city charging exorbitant fees like, the source mentions 1,000 Brazilian reals for a consultation.
That's a lot.
And, as the source puts it, doesn't even look at you, showing a real lack of basic compassion. This surgeon, in earthly terms, maybe he lost potential income by serving the poor.
But his legacy points to a different kind of wealth entirely.
Exactly.
This anecdote beautifully highlights that profound difference between conventional material success, high fees, prestige, piling money, versus what the sources define as spiritual wealth.
Which is measured differently.
Measured by compassion, selfless service, genuine care for your fellow human beings. The source articulates this divine selectivity beautifully, implying it's not our material stuff, our bank balance, or our worldly status that truly matters in the grand spiritual ledger.
It's our actions.
And the actions we take, the kindness we extend, the genuine compassion we embody that are ultimately judged or valued.
It prompts us to really think about what defines a formidable person in our own eyes. Is it worldly success, or is it altruism and integrity?
It's a powerful question, and one that shifts our perspective immediately.
And sometimes these perceived losses, these moments of earthly pain, they hit us incredibly close to home. They challenge our spiritual beliefs in a very personal way. I remember, this is over 35 years ago, the sudden death of my obstetrician, Dr. Luis Roberto.
Oh, wow.
He was a truly wonderful doctor, specializing in bringing children into the world and also treating breast cancer. He suffered a fulminant heart attack just completely unexpectedly at a medical congress.
That's shocking.
I was filled with anger, profound sadness. I was questioning the spirits, asking why such a good, kind, vital person had to die so soon, leaving behind so many who needed him.
That's such a natural reaction.
So what does this all mean, especially when we face that kind of raw, personal grief? How can a sudden, painful death, one that leaves so much sorrow and unanswered questions for those on Earth, possibly be considered beautiful from a spiritual perspective?
It seems impossible.
Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, a revered spiritual guide incorporating through a medium, actually declared Dr. Luis Roberto's passing a beautiful death.
A beautiful death.
Yes, he said the physical body fell, but the soul rose victorious. And I remember just stopping in the middle of the room, completely struck by that statement, thinking, but I'm going to miss him for the rest of my life. My sister was still pregnant and needed his care.
Of course.
It's incredibly difficult, isn't it, to reconcile that earthly pain, that profound sense of loss, with the spiritual declaration of ultimate victory.
That visceral human reaction to loss, especially the death of someone loved, is not only completely understandable, but entirely valid. Of course it is. However, Dr. Becerra's interpretation forces us to confront a different, maybe higher paradigm. It suggests that from a spiritual vantage point, what looks like a devastating loss on earth can, in fact, be a moment of profound spiritual triumph and liberation for the soul itself.
So, for Dr. Luis Roberto's soul,
perhaps, for a soul like his, he had completed his specific mission, accumulated immense spiritual merit through his service, and was ready for a higher stage of existence. His sudden transition, while incredibly painful for those left behind, might have been the perfect victorious moment for his soul's continued journey.
It encourages us to look beyond the immediate pain.
Exactly. And consider the soul's larger, often far more complex journey, which our limited human perception often struggles to fully grasp. It's about understanding that the soul's timeline and purpose are often vastly different from our own earthly expectations.
This concept of spiritual gain through earthly loss is even more dramatically illustrated in the deeply moving story of Chico Xavier's nephew.
Ah, yes. That story's very powerful.
This boy was born with such severe disabilities that his mother, who already had several other children and felt overwhelmed, felt she just couldn't care for him.
A terribly difficult situation.
So the child was lovingly entrusted to Chico Xavier, the renowned medium, and Chico painstakingly, with immense love, cared for him, feeding him tiny balls of food so he could swallow, placing a fine veil over his face to protect him from mosquitoes in the hot climate.
Incredible dedication.
Rushing home every night to bathe and feed him, spending every single weekend by his bedside, giving him the only unconditional love he truly found. The boy lived for 12 years under Chico's tender care.
12 years.
And while the rest of the family, faced with such a challenging situation, might have felt, well, relieved when the boy passed.
Which is a natural human reaction to the end of immense suffering and caregiving burden.
Right. Chico, on the other hand, felt an enormous sense of longing and profound missing. He deeply mourned the physical absence of this child he had so selflessly devoted himself to.
He truly loved him.
Yes. And here's where the deeper spiritual revelation comes in, shared by Chico's spiritual guide, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Emmanuel later revealed that this nephew was, in a past life, a cruel revolutionary in 11th century France, specifically after the French Revolution.
A past life connection.
Yes. Someone who had a perverse enjoyment in sending people to the guillotine. He even arbitrarily chose strangers just to keep the machine of death running, completely indifferent to the suffering he caused.
Horrifying.
So what's truly fascinating here is that intricate karmic connection. A past act of immense cruelty is met with an incarnation designed for profound, selfless care and a path to spiritual healing.
Healing not just for the child.
Exactly. Not just for the child who received unconditional love, but also for Chico and everyone involved. The loss of the physical body with its severe limitations was truly the gain of the soul,
allowing it to begin a long journey of redemption.
Affirmed by its future plan, according to the source, to return in the third millennium.
Wow. It really prompts us to consider how severe disabilities, though tragic and painful from our earthly view, might serve as powerful catalysts for spiritual transformation.
For both the soul incarnating and those caring for them.
Yes, offering unique opportunities for profound compassion and spiritual growth.
These incredible stories really underscore a fundamental principle our sources keep returning to.
Which is?
That everything that hinders us, our unrealized dreams, our feelings of solitude, anything that separates us from joy and happiness, is essentially the past that returns to us.
The past returning.
Yeah. The core spiritual lesson seems to be that we lose temporarily to gain spiritually.
It's a tough one to swallow sometimes.
It's incredibly difficult to accept, isn't it? Especially when things seem to be going well and we prefer to think our lives are just moving forward without any echoes or, unresolved accounts from yesterday.
We resist the idea that current struggles could be linked to past choices.
Totally. But these sources present a compelling argument for exactly that connection.
And this reinforces that overarching theme. Earthly setbacks aren't arbitrary. They're often spiritual lessons in disguise, a kind of rebalancing of accounts from past actions, whether in this life or previous ones.
And it's not meant as punishment.
No, the sources frame it more as an opportunity for learning, for growth, and ultimately for liberation from old patterns.
But we resist it.
The difficulty lies in our human resistance to this concept, particularly when we're enjoying success or feel we haven't done anything to deserve a setback.
Right.
We often forget that spiritual evolution frequently requires us to confront and resolve lingering issues, even if their origins are veiled from our conscious memory. It challenges us to look beyond immediate cause and effect and consider a much larger, multi-lifetime perspective.
Okay, now let's zoom out again to a collective scale. The aftermath of World War II, roughly 1945 to 1950, provides an incredible, almost cinematic example of collective karma and spiritual intervention.
Also,
Our sources describe an impressive number of soldiers and victims from that war from all sides incorporating into Brazilian spiritual recovery groups.
incorporating, you mean like spirit communication?
Yes, communicating through mediums. These souls were highly traumatized, full of revolt, suffering profound spiritual disorientation.
Understandably so, after that conflict.
So, what does this all mean? That a global conflict could have such a profound spiritual aftermath. It's astonishing to think that invisible energetic barriers, the spiritual frontiers that typically exist between countries,
And restrict the movement of suffering souls.
could fall for a period, allowing for this mass healing. For 5 years, apparently, these spiritual energetic barriers fell.
Allowing these souls to be rescued.
Yes, brought to Brazil for spiritual aid, where they could begin to process their trauma and understand their experiences from a higher perspective.
Wow. And there were
Once their task was complete, once the healing process had progressed for many, the barriers apparently returned. Many of these souls went on to plan new lives, future incarnations.
but not all of them.
No. The source mentions some, even 80 years later, still haven't returned, still trapped by hatred and a refusal to forgive.
That's a stark reminder of individual choice within that collective experience.
It is.
This segment really illustrates large-scale spiritual intervention and that profound concept of collective karma, where the consequences of shared actions and choices manifest globally.
And it highlights the lasting impact of hatred and unforgiveness.
Exactly. How it can prolong spiritual suffering even after physical death. But it also reveals these unseen support systems for humanity, doesn't it?
Yeah, like a spiritual economy working behind the scenes.
Working to aid and rebalance humanity, even in its darkest hours, it suggests that even the most horrific global events are viewed as profound, albeit painful, opportunities for vast spiritual learning and realignment.
But perhaps the most stark and certainly the most challenging karmic revelation in our sources comes from the thalidomide tragedy.
Ah, yes, the 1960s.
This drug, given to pregnant women for morning sickness, led to babies being born without arms, a devastating, widespread tragedy.
Heartbreaking.
Later, spiritual sources, specifically through Chico Xavier, revealed a deeply unsettling explanation for this.
What was the explanation?
That these missing arms belonged to the masters of the concentration camps from World War II. Those who, with their own hands, opened the crematorium ovens to throw in Jews, homosexuals, intellectuals, anyone deemed an enemy of the Third Reich.
Wow. That is deeply complex and unsettling.
It really is.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the sources present this incredibly difficult karmic explanation for profound human suffering on a massive scale.
Suggesting a direct link across lifetimes between perpetrator and victim?
Yes. Suggesting that even immense tragedy can have roots in past actions and serve a purpose in spiritual rebalancing. It's a challenging concept for many to grasp, and it's crucial, as you said, to remember we're reporting on the source material's perspective here.
Right, not endorsing, just presenting the information.
Exactly. It prompts us to consider the intricate web of cause and effect across lifetimes and how a soul, maybe through such an experience, might be given an opportunity for a dramatic reevaluation and ultimately a path toward redemption, however difficult that journey is for everyone involved.
And then, almost unbelievably, amidst all this darkness and despair, our sources share this tiny glimmer of light that truly challenges our understanding of good and evil.
Okay.
It's the story of Clara, a German woman cured of breast cancer by an Austrian Jewish doctor. Years later, her son, Adolf Hitler, upon invading Austria, ordered his officers to protect this specific doctor.
Hitler protected a Jewish doctor.
This one specific doctor, he referred to him as worthy, noble, honest. According to the source, this was remarkably the only Jew Hitler saved.
That's astonishing.
And this is where the narrative takes such a profoundly thought-provoking turn. To think that that figure, responsible for so much horrific suffering, could hold such a specific personal act of gratitude from his own mother's past.
What does that tell us about the human soul, even one shrouded in such immense darkness?
The sources suggest that even when the shadow within someone's soul seems absolute, there remains a tiny grain of light.
A spark.
A tiny spark of light that will one day completely flood the soul of that being. It challenges those simple, binary views of good and evil.
Implying potential for eventual redemption.
Suggesting a potential for eventual redemption, a tiny spark of humanity that can persist even in the most heinous figures. It suggests a kind of cosmic hope, maybe, for even the darkest souls.
That's a lot to contemplate.
So after exploring these huge landscapes of collective karma and these extreme personal stories, what does it all boil down to for our individual journey through life?
Bringing it back to us.
Our sources tell us that losing is regaining the notion of our individuality.
Regaining individuality through loss. How so?
It means that when we face loss, we're often forced to look inward, right? To truly rely on our own inner strength and to cultivate this enduring belief in future success, maybe with a different approach. Like, okay, if I didn't succeed now, I will succeed later.
So loss becomes a catalyst.
Yeah, a powerful catalyst for self-reflection, personal growth. It strengthens our resilience and self-belief in a way that constant winning or just easy paths might not.
It strips away the external crutches.
Exactly, and reveals what we're truly made of.
It's about finding that inner conviction, that deep well of self-trust. The sources even make a relatable reference to that poignant bolero, You Failed Heart, by Angel Maria.
Oh, I know that song.
It portrays life as a roulette wheel, where we stake everything, and sometimes our luck just fails us, we lose.
Happens to everyone.
But the underlying message, which echoes Jesus' teachings, is one of perseverance and ethical conduct. He came to show us paths forward.
How did the source put it?
Sometimes everything goes wrong, but if you want things to work out, be good, do your best in the direction of your fellow human being. It's a call to consistent, conscious effort guided by love, regardless of the immediate outcome.
And that warmth of earning love and happiness,
Yeah.
the feeling when a child tells you they love you or a partner of 50 years says they couldn't have had a happier life without you, these are the real, undeniable spiritual gains that truly matter.
Far beyond any material loss.
Totally. It's the lasting impact of our actions and our love.
This raises an important question, though. In a world that often feels like a gamble, so unpredictable, how do we actively choose to follow this path?
The path of kindness, consistent effort, inner integrity.
Yeah. Truly believing that our day to win will eventually come. It connects those spiritual teachings directly to our daily actions and choices.
Reminding us that even when things go wrong or we face apparent losses, our core purpose remains.
To act with goodness, compassion, and unwavering effort. It's in the consistent pursuit of these virtues that true, lasting happiness is found.
And sometimes, the path to recentering ourselves, to fulfilling those pre-incarnation agreements maybe, involves something we often dread.
What's that?
Solitude.
Solitude. Often seen so negatively.
Right. But our sources reframe solitude not as a punishment, not as a sign of being forgotten or unwanted.
But as a pause for effective readjustment.
A pause for effective readjustment, meaning...
It's a dedicated period for us to reevaluate our emotional connections, our inner landscape. If, for instance, in a past life, everyone you loved didn't love you back, or maybe you caused confusion and heartache for others, then this life's solitude can be seen as a perfect incarnation to settle your debts.
Wow. A divine opportunity to understand, heal, and rebalance your emotional karma.
This perspective profoundly transforms solitude. It goes from being a painful loss and emptiness into a purposeful period of spiritual growth and karmic rebalancing.
Encouraging introspection instead of despair.
Exactly. Prompting us to examine our past actions, our emotional patterns, and to find healing and self-discovery in that time of quiet reflection.
It's a chance to build an authentic relationship with ourselves.
Independent of external validation. Learning self-love and inner peace, preparing us for healthier, more balanced connections in the future. It truly reframes a common human experience as a profound spiritual gift.
This theme of personal responsibility and heeding spiritual guidance is even illustrated in a, humorous yet very pointed anecdote from Chico Xavier's experiences.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He knew a young man who was quite chubby, as the source puts it, and Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, incorporating through Chico, gave him a clear piece of advice from the spiritual world.
What was the advice?
He said, "My son, every disincarnation, every transition from the physical body to the spiritual realm has a characteristic. I would advise you something. While you are in the body, go on a diet, lose a little weight."
Spiritual weight loss advice.
Pretty much, but the man, unfortunately, completely disregarded Dr. Becerra's guidance. Prioritized his earthly pleasures, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine being stuck in your old house because you didn't follow a simple piece of advice. Chico later learned the man had indeed passed away, disincarnated. And Chico was worried because, well, the man hadn't dieted.
Right.
Then one day, Chico astral projected to the man's old house and found him there, still tied to his physical body.
No way. Why?
The man calmly explained that Dr. Becerra had told him he could only be taken to the spiritual world once he lost a little weight.
Meaning spiritually emaciate, detached.
Exactly, detached from his physical cravings and attachments. He had to stay there, spiritually heavy with his earthly habits, until Dr. Becerra himself came to get him.
That's incredible. A vivid, slightly comical, but profound lesson in the persistence of our habits.
Isn't it?
This humorous but pointed anecdote really highlights the very real, sometimes immediate consequences of ignoring spiritual guidance.
It underscores that deep connection between our physical actions and our spiritual liberation, even after death.
It's a vivid reminder that our choices, even seemingly small ones like diet or self-discipline, have lasting energetic impacts. They can literally tie us to the earthly plane longer than necessary.
Your immediate reaction to the story, wanting to change your own eating habits right away, is just a testament to the power of these direct spiritual lessons.
It makes the abstract idea of spiritual consequences incredibly tangible, doesn't it?
Ultimately, our sources remind us that we reside on what they call a planet of trials and atonements.
A spiritual classification.
Meaning it's a world where souls come to learn through challenges, resolve past karmic imbalances. It's not a perfected state of being, not a planet of regenerated souls.
Not yet, they do.
We acknowledge the current global conflicts, the accusations, the deep divisions we see everywhere, and understand that, from this perspective, we are here to lose, only then to win definitively, especially over ourselves.
Winning over ourselves, that's key.
This perspective offers a spiritual explanation for the persistent challenges and conflicts in the world, framing them not as random chaos,
But as opportunities. Opportunities for both collective and individual growth, urging us towards regeneration and self-mastery. This deep understanding reminds us that the struggles we see, both globally and personally, are not without purpose. They're catalysts, urging us towards a deeper self-mastery, a refinement of our character, and ultimately, a more harmonious state of being. It's about understanding that the path to true, lasting victory often runs through periods of apparent defeat.
transforming us profoundly in the process.
Exactly. This planetary stage is designed for us to confront our imperfections, learn forgiveness, cultivate unconditional love, preparing us, perhaps, for higher realms of existence.
And this journey of learning to lose gracefully and also to truly appreciate winning is so beautifully captured in a really relatable everyday scenario.
Like what?
I was watching the Antwerp vault final in gymnastics, and the commentators were just gushing over Simone Biles. Simone is marvelous. Simone Biles is perfect, spectacular. They even made a playful joke about her having had double the Danonino yogurt because of her incredible energy.
High praise indeed.
And then the unexpected happened. Simone Biles falls.
Oh, even the greatest.
Right. It was like watching one of my own clumsy tumbles, honestly. And I actually felt this strange, almost comforting thought like, see, even Simone falls. And then our very own Rebecca Andrade steps up.
From Brazil.
Yes. And with incredible grace and power, wins the gold.
Fantastic.
But the commentators, still kind of starstruck by Biles, declared, Simone is not from this planet.
Okay.
And I, just sitting there in front of the TV, couldn't help but yell back, and our Rebecca isn't from this constellation.
Good point.
It reflects what Nelson Rodrigues, the playwright, called the vira-lata complex, the underdog complex. That Brazilian tendency to always think what belongs to others is better, that we can achieve greatness ourselves.
That's self-deprecation.
But this moment, with Simone's fall and Rebecca's triumph, it just perfectly illustrates a profound spiritual lesson, I think.
Which is?
We have to learn to accept loss gracefully when it's our turn, understanding it might be part of a larger plan. And equally important, to truly enjoy winning when it's our turn.
Shedding those self-deprecating complexes and embracing our own light.
Exactly. It's about being fully present and appreciative in both moments, realizing that both experiences contribute massively to our growth.
It's about truly embracing the full spectrum of life's experiences, understanding that the ebb and the flow, are part of the divine design.
Yeah.
The concluding message from our sources is a powerful call to action, really, full of hope and resilience.
What's the core message?
We will all win, and if we lose, it's because it wasn't meant for us, it wasn't supposed to be ours, it wasn't supposed to be with us.
Wow, that combines acceptance with effort.
It does. It combines that idea of predestination and acceptance with active effort, urging us to move forward with courage, determination, and joy. It reinforces the belief that every experience, even a loss, serves a higher purpose in our journey towards light and spiritual perfection.
Guiding us toward what is truly meant for our souls.
It's about trust. Trust in the unfolding process of life. #dadtag_outro.
So what does this all mean? We've really journeyed through some incredible stories today, haven't we? Challenging our very ideas of what it means to win and to lose.
It's been quite a deep dive.
We started with that immediate sting of earthly disappointment, navigated through the radical joy and unwavering faith of figures like Ignacio de Antioquia, delved into pre-incarnation agreements and the challenging karmic lessons of figures like Andre Luis and Chico Xavier's nephew.
Yep.
We've seen collective healing after global conflict,
And those unsettling karmic explanations for immense tragedies like thalidomide.
discovering that even in the darkest souls, that tiny spark of light can persist, offering hope for ultimate redemption. We've explored how losing can be a profound way of regaining our individuality, a path of readjustment, an opportunity for deep spiritual growth and self-mastery.
Ultimately, what we often consider loss here on Earth can, in so many instances, mean a profound gain in a higher spiritual sense.
Exactly.
And this brings us to a final big provocative thought, drawing on that profound and enduring image of Jesus.
Okay.
He appeared completely defeated, didn't he? Seemingly utterly unsuccessful, suffering immense earthly loss.
Crucified.
But was the Lord of the world even there crucified? His apparent failure, the ultimate physical loss, was in fact his ultimate triumph, revealing a power and victory that transcended physical perception and literally reshaped human history.
That's powerful.
So this raises an important question for you, our listener.
Yeah.
Where in your own life might you be mistaking an apparent loss, a setback, a disappointment, a perceived failure for a profound, albeit hidden gain,
A gain that is quietly working to shape your soul.
and lead you towards a greater destiny?
When discouragement and sadness come, when those moments of apparent failure hit you, remember that profound truth. Remember Jesus on the cross. Remember that we truly don't need things or specific outcomes to be happy. As the sources remind us, we can cultivate that inner peace of someone truly content.
That state of looking at everything, I don't need to be happy.
Exactly. We hope you carry these insights forward, recognizing the deeper purpose in every experience, whether it feels like a monumental win or a devastating loss on your incredible journey through this life.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep into the wisdom that surrounds us.